Rick Serritella here on location at the Waldorf Astoria College Football Hall of Fame, and we have one of the new inductees, Tom Cousineau, here of Ohio State. Congratulations on the award here today, and what does it mean to be inducted with all these legendary players?
Well, first of all, thanks, Rick. It has been phenomenal. If you would have asked me when this entire football enterprise started for me, whether football would be pouring blessings into my life I'm almost 60, I would have been dumbfounded. I mean, this is remarkable, and so I'm honored, I'm humbled, I'm extremely proud to represent the Ohio State University. It's one of the best decisions I ever made, and to have the opportunity to play for Coach Woody Hayes and have the kind of high quality teammates that I had and play in a storied program like I did, it's remarkable, and that again that this blessing would come my way all these years later it's been super fun.
Yeah, you talk about all the great tradition at Ohio State, and you are now the 25th Buckeye in the College Football Hall of Fame, a legendary program, and still on top of the college football world with another great coach in Urban Meyer. But you mentioned the legendary Woody Hayes. Can you share us a story or a memory playing for Coach Hayes?
Well, Coach Hayes was one of those guys that, I mean, he got us to play individually better than we ever thought we could play. That got me to play better, my teammates. So individually, he challenged us, and then collectively, we learned to channel that to make the program more important than our goals. I mean, he was just a remarkable leader, and he had a great sense of humor. I don't think a lot of people saw. For instance, the evening before the national letter came out, when I'm in high school, Woody Hayes, Joe Paterno, and Gary Moeller, who was then the defensive coordinator at the University of Michigan, later their head coach, were all in my basement. My dad's a lifelong high school football coach, right? And he's in his glory, you know. And we're all together for about an hour, and Coach Hayes gets up and says, "Probably time that I leave." He said, "Tom, would you walk me to the front door?" Very smart. And we get there, he turns around and he said, "I'd like to be back here at 6:30 tomorrow morning. Are you ready to be a Buckeye?" And I said, "I am, Coach." We shook hands and he said, "Good." He said, "Now go downstairs and tell those sons of bitches to get the hell out."
That's incredible story. And what was it, 524 tackles later? Or I mean, you got to be the all-time tackle leader, no?
Well,
right? I mean, that's incredible.
I still hold most of the tackle records there. But listen, as the name implies, linebacker, you got to have people in front of you. And Ohio State was a wonderful place for me because they let me run, and because they know I could get to the ball. But if you're occupied all the time with blockers, they kept me clean. So this award for me is all about our defense and the guys that I played with, because without them, this never happens.
And you look around the room while you guys are being inducted, and it looks like just being around such greatness kind of strikes up the inner fire, and makes you guys want to be back out there on the playing field. But this is a pretty good team that would be fielded out there.
Well, I think so. We probably have to play touch football at this point, but what it does, at least for me, is manifest what is so good about the game. You know, the high caliber of, you know, this idea of competition means that, you know, really the Greek of competition, the root of it means that we struggle with one another in common, which means I need for you to be the best that you can be in order that I might be the best that I can be, and that we pick each other up and we go again and again. And those are the kind of guys that you see sitting up on that dais, for sure. And that's what Coach Hayes encouraged at Ohio State, that kind of competition.
Well, I think we heard probably just about every inductee talk about how the game of football installed the principalities from a young age, and they carry that with them throughout their careers, throughout their lives, whatever it may be.
Well, and that's true, but I would submit to you that football is a great game because it reveals character. I think it teaches character, but it also really is a great revealer of character. And to develop character, it's like a parent teaching their child, right? A coach needs to, and that's why, again, Woody Hayes was so great. You know, if you don't teach character and virtue, the history of the game and the obligation to the game, players don't learn it. And so when you have the good fortune to play like Derek Brooks for Coach Bowden, or and you know, and on, right? These great teachers of the game, you know, have raised up a legion of young men that have heard the good things. And not everybody's coachable, right? In our program, we didn't get everybody, but Coach Hayes got most of us.
Well, I've always been a big believer that adversity is a big definer of character building, and how people react to adversity and deal with adversity sometimes can also reveal your character.
Oh, there's no doubt that adversity it shows. You know, I've learned way more from failure than I ever did from victory. You know, it's easy. Well, it's not easy to win, but it's easy to live with winning. You know, and so losing is distasteful. But you know, because I lose doesn't necessarily mean I'm a loser, right? So how do you battle back from that? You know, everybody gets knocked down. Got to get up and go again, and then figure out how not to let that happen again.
This has been a great educational experience for me, and you know, I like to educate some of the players that are coming out of the college game and moving on to the NFL game. And you know, it's a lot has changed since you came out for the NFL draft. It's a big fiasco now. There's agents and financial advisors and NFL combine training facilities, and a lot of times these guys go from a bowl game all of a sudden to the Senior Bowl or getting ready for the next level. How was it for you coming out and preparing for the NFL draft?
Well, you know, I had the good fortune to, when I left the Gator Bowl, that fateful evening, I went right from there to Hawaii for the Hula Bowl, and then onto the Japan Bowl. And it was
the Japan Bowl. Tell me about that one.
Well, it was basically the same team, and we just took it to Tokyo and played there. And so it was great fun. But as that led, and I played really well in both of those games, and ended up being the first player selected in the NFL draft in 1979. Interestingly enough, in this very hotel, the Waldorf. And so Coach Hayes, back in those days, the press had virtually no access to the players.
Well, that's going to be my next question. Tell us about your NFL draft experience. Being the #1 overall selection, I'm sure it didn't involve all the hoopla that's involved today.
No. Again, it was right here at the Waldorf. I remember being in the big ballroom where we'll be tonight. I believe, and so I'm at a podium, and there's hundreds of microphones. And I'm a kid who's not been exposed to the press. I mean, I've been shielded, and all of a sudden, I'm standing next to Commissioner Roselle, and and so, Coach Hayes always felt like it was better to keep us shielded from that. He was the guy that was out front, charismatic. I mean, he was quite a character with the press, and that worked for us. But it was quite a shock, for sure. Not nearly the production that it is today, and not nearly the money that it is today.
Yeah, right. Well, here we are now to talk about it all these years later, and the Waldorf Astoria closing for renovations. A lot of history here, and for you personally, a lot of history at the Waldorf Astoria. I mean, is that your fondest memory, the NFL draft, the College Football Hall of Fame? What are you going to remember about this great building?
Well, this great building. Well, this event has been over the top. I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I knew this was big. I mean, the folks from Ohio State have told me, Tom, get ready, because this is really a great few days, and we're proud, you should be proud, and we journey through this together. And it's sort of, I have a sophomore. My youngest is a sophomore at Ohio State, so I've stayed connected to the program over the years, and love them. And I had the good fortune to present last year's team their gold pants, which is what the guys get when we beat Michigan, and so, which was wonderful for me, to be in the same facility. It's very different today than it was when I was there, and to listen to Coach Meyer speak, and I realized he's saying the same things that Coach Hayes said. We're standing in the same meeting room, right? And it's just packaged differently, but great coaches have. There's a common thread that works through all of them, I believe, and so I felt like, honestly, I stood up and I said, I feel like I could be your teammate. I know I don't look like it, but I feel like it. And actually they did too. And it's really, it's what, not to be corny, but it's what we mean at Ohio State when we sing Carmen, Ohio. How firm thy friendship. Oh, hi. Oh, right? And it's alive and well there, man. And we got a bunch of Buckeye fans here today.
And it sounds like Coach Meyer embraces the tradition and the history. It sounds like you have a great relationship with the.
No, he's all about the tradition. He gets it. And speaking of that, I love our chances here in a couple weeks. I don't know that there's anybody better than him at game planning for a big game. And again, I like our chances with 3 weeks to get ready for them. They're a formidable opponent, and we owe Clemson some payback from 3 years ago in the Orange Bowl. We didn't fare very well, but I like our chances this time.
I agree with you. We've seen Coach Meyer in action, and there is something different about that. man. When you take a look at his presence and what he does, is just something about him. Last one for me. I mean, what are you up to these days outside of staying close to the Ohio State Buckeye University? I mean, what are you involved with these days, staying busy?
Well, I've got 2 daughters. One is just graduating from John Carroll University,
Very nice.
which is on the east side of Cleveland, and then I've got a sophomore at the Ohio State University, which has been so much fun. And my wife and I we're reliving college again through her, and the football games are a little more fun when the kids are attached to it, and Casey's
Not as much life and death.
exactly. But I'm in corporate healthcare, so I move around the country, and we try to help corporate populations get healthy.
All right, well, there you have it, our one of latest inductions for the College Football Hall of Fame inductee class 2016, going in with a legendary class. Tom Cousineau, we appreciate your time here today at the National Football Foundation College Football Hall of Fame. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.